Project Twinkle was the secret, right?
Yes, they all
secret.
were.
They all were
So
secret.
Project Sign, Project Grudge, Project Twinkle, they were all secret programs by the Air Force. But based on the overflights in Washington, D.C., over the White House, over the Capitol building,
Right.
over the secure airspace, the Air Force decided to get out in front of the problem and started a public information program called Project Blue Book.
The famous Project Blue Book.
The famous Project Blue Book. And that started in March of 1952, and it ended in December of 1969. But Blue Book was the first publicly acknowledged UFO program done by the Air Force. And the only problem was it was highly understaffed. They only had a director, 2 officers who would go out and do the investigations.
Okay.
And then had
field officers, you would call this?
Yes,
Okay.
and then they had 2 secretaries.
One for each. Yeah,
They started collecting, investigating a lot of cases. So at one point, they needed a scientific advisor.
Okay.
And that's when they approached Dr. J. Allen Hynek. And he was, at the time, astronomy professor at Northwestern University. And he had also taught at Ohio State. Their thinking was that he could help explain away some of the more mundane sightings that were actually meteorites or some type of natural phenomena such as the aurora borealis or things like of that nature.
Okay.
But one of the main things about Blue Book was because it was a public information program, they were downplaying a lot of the sightings.
Right.
Trying to explain away as many as they could.
Right.
And the ones that were of a higher strangeness level, as Dr. Hynek would say,
right,
those were kind of siphoned off, and you didn't hear much about those because of all the amount of sightings that they were investigating.
Right.
They needed to organize the files in some type of way.
Yeah, there was no computer really at the time.
Well,
I mean, there was, but...
ironically, they hired a subcontractor named Jacques Vallée.
Jacques Vallée.
Yes, and he was a computer expert. And what he did was he built a database for them for their sightings. Yeah, so he worked with Dr. Hynek to organize all the files into a database.
Oh, wow. Well, it took a long time.
Yeah. In the film Close Encounters of the Third Kind,
right,
the main investigator, the French investigator, was based on a Jacques Vallée character.
Oh, interesting.
Okay, which is
right. I never heard of Jacques Vallée.
You never heard of him?
No.
He's written many books. He actually has in his possession some materials that are possibly, well, they came from crash sites, supposed crash sites.
Okay.
He has physical evidence from some type of crashes. He's looking into trying to get the funding. He's working with scientists in Silicon Valley to try to analyze these materials because now there's some new equipment that can do some new type of spectral analysis or chemical analysis, whatever it might be. So he has multiple samples in his personal possession that he's trying to get analyzed at this time. But he doesn't want to say what they are or too much about them until they've been analyzed and they've been written up in the scientific journals. And then he'll release the information. But right now, he doesn't want to say what they are, where they came from, how he got them, none of that information.
And he's still alive.
So if you or someone you know has some evidence,
stories, evidence,
photographs, hard evidence,
right,
we're willing to hear what you have to say and what you might have to show.
Right. And I think that's pretty much it.
Thank you very much, and
thank you.
Check back and see our next episode.
And we're doing the stupid
Don't
thing.
forget to subscribe.
Forget to subscribe, please.
And leave
Yeah.
leave a comment.
Yeah, leave a nice comment.
Thank
a
you.
nice one.